First things first, allow us to introduce ourselves. We have Miss Agnes Ybañez, Miss Christy Estañol, Miss Dominique Trece, yours truly Jessie Gil Dumo, and lastly, Miss Mariella Yvon Jabutay. The following are the learning objectives for this afternoon. First, we have to analyze Otto'S concept of the numinous as the core element of religious experience. Second is to evaluate its strengths and weaknesses as an argument for the existence of God. And lastly, to apply Otto'S concept of the numinous as a specific example of a religious experience. For the topic outline, we have the following. First, the numinous. It is a unique, non-rational experience of the holy. The second one would be mysterium tremendum et fascinans. It is the dual aspects of the numinous, inspiring both awe or fear and fascination or attraction. And lastly, the holy other, or God's under. It is the ineffable nature of the divine, distinct from human comprehension. Now, let us dive into the historical context and development. Early 20th century, a time of intellectual and theological upheaval. This was a period when many old beliefs and traditions were being questioned. Science, psychology, and modern philosophy were growing fast, and people began to ask, do we still need religion? Is God just a human invention? At the same time, wars and social changes made people feel uncertain about life. So, it was a time of confusion, change, and deep thinking, especially about faith, truth, and meaning. Reaction against rationalist interpretations of religion. For years, many thinkers tried to explain religion using logic and reason, as if religion was just about moral rules or social behavior. But people like Rudolf Otto disagreed. They said, religion is more than logic. It is about deep personal experiences that go beyond what we can explain. Otto wanted to bring back the mystery and emotion in religion, which rational thinking couldn't fully capture. Influence on phenomenology and existentialism. Two new ways of thinking were becoming popular at that time. Phenomenology focused on how we experience things. It asked, how does it feel like to experience the sacred? Existentialism focused on human feelings like fear, freedom, and purpose. It asked, what does it mean to be alive in a confusing world? Rudolf Otto was born on September 25, 1869 in Pien, Prussia, and died on March 6, 1937 in Marburg, Germany. He was a German philosopher, theologian, and historian of religion who exerted worldwide influence through his investigation of man's experience of the holy. He also studied the life and thought of Martin Luther, initially prompted Otto's inquiry into man's experience of the holy. Friedrich Schleiermacher, philosopher and theologian, is Otto's initial mentor, guiding his inquiry into the specific character of the religious response. Now, we have the idea of the holy. Thus Heilig, in 1917, Otto realized that there is a need to explore the non-rational side of religion. Rational approach has the tendency to scale down the reality of God to the norms of human reason, therefore humanizing our conception of the divine. We lose sight of God as majesty, mystery, and as the holy other. Otto saw a danger in using reason alone to understand religion. When we do that, we shrink God down to something we can explain or control. But for Otto, God is much more, a mysterious and powerful presence that goes beyond human understanding. He called this the Holy Other, something totally different from anything in the world. Religious experience, a unique and overpowering emotional experience of something so great and mysterious that cannot be described or put into words, allows man to apprehend this non-rational side of God and religion, where the divine reality is encountered as presence that evokes certain subjective mental and emotional states within a person. It is a deep emotional experience of something mysterious and beyond words, where a person feels the presence of the divine in a powerful way. This experience reveals the non-rational side of God and religion, stirring strong inner feelings that logic cannot fully explain. It's not subjective, which means it is based on purely subjective internal states that have no corresponding objective reality outside that person. It is not a reducible to mere wish of fulfillment, need for security, or chemical reactions in the brain. The experience of the divine is not just a personal feeling or imagination. It is real and meaningful, not simply a result of desires, fears, or brain chemistry. This gives real-life examples to illustrate Otto's concept. Ryan feels overwhelming peace and love while meditating, suggesting a spiritual connection. Mary feels deep emotions when listening to music. These moments are described as examples of religious or spiritual experiences, showing how people might feel a connection to something greater. This slide challenges the interpretation of those experiences. Ryan sees his feeling as divine, while Mary sees it as caused by the beauty of music. Even if both feel something powerful, the interpretations differ. This raises a philosophical question. Are these truly divine encounters or just personal emotional responses? This critic questions whether all such experiences actually prove the existence of God.
Limitations of non-subjectivity view. Difficulty of verification. There is no objective way to verify or disprove the existence of God or higher power based solely on these experiences. So there's no way to objectively prove whether the experience truly comes from God or not. Varying interpretations. People can interpret the same feelings in vastly different ways based on their personal beliefs and backgrounds. So people from different cultures or backgrounds may experience the same feeling but give it different meanings. These limitations suggest religious experiences might not be reliable evidence for God's existence. Attributes that could be understood by the knowledge of man is taught through all languages. Words are used to convey ideas of concepts. Rationalists frame a theory to pinpoint a certain quality relevant to the mental and emotional state. This contrasts rational understanding with the numinous. Rational thought uses language and reason to understand the world, and people try to describe religious experiences using ideas and concepts that can be analyzed. However, Otto believed rationally can't fully capture the essence of the numinous, and it's beyond logic and words. Still, rational thinking helps us frame and discuss these deep emotional experiences in a meaningful way. Numen and numinous. Otto differentiates between numen, the divine or holy presence, and numinous, our emotional experience of that presence. Holiness and the holy. It contains a specific moment which sets it apart from the rational and which remains inexpressible. So it is not just moral goodness, but a deep mysterious feeling connected to the divine. Sui generis, a perfectly mental state of applied holiness. It cannot be strictly defined. Meaning of its own kind, showing that numinous experiences are unique and can't be fully described or compared to anything else. This explains why religious experiences are so personal and hard to express. Element in the numinous. Creature feeling, also known as creature consciousness, that pertains to the emotion of the creature, dazed and overwhelmed by nothingness in contrast to that which is supreme above all things. Otto calls this creature feeling a deep awareness of one's smallness when faced with something infinitely greater. It's a feeling of being a tiny, powerless creature before a divine presence. This highlights our complete dependence in the holy, making us feel humbled, vulnerable, and in awe.
Mysterium tremendum is the most fundamental feeling associated with great religious experience felt in the people, monuments, and objects. This explains two aspects of Mysterium tremendum. Mystery, the divine is hidden, unknowable, and beyond full understanding. Tremor, a sense of holy fear, not terror but reverent fear that comes from realizing you're in the presence of something deeply sacred. This reminds us that religious experience is more than just belief. It's a profound emotional and spiritual reaction. The 5 elements of Mysterium tremendum: element of awfulness, element of overpoweringness, element of energy, the holy other, and the element of fascination. Element of awfulness. This refers to a special kind of fear, not ordinary fear but a deep sense of awe or reverence when encountering something divine or supernatural. Otto calls it reverential fear. It is similar to how someone might feel the dread of ghosts or the eerie presence of something greater than themselves. It's the overwhelming realization that you are in the presence of something far beyond human understanding. Element of overpoweringness. This element describes the feeling of being completely overwhelmed by the greatness or majesty of a divine being. The person senses that they are small and powerless in comparison to a reality that is all-powerful, majestic, and awe-inspiring. Otto calls this feeling tremenda majestas or awful majesty. Element of energy or urgency. This is the intense vital force one feels in a religious experience. The divine presence feels not only powerful but also active, energetic, and full of movement, like it has a will of its own. The person may feel emotional surges of passion, excitement, or urgency that are uncontrollable and compelling.
The Holy Other. Mystery needs tremendous power, but the tremendum could overcome the mind without misery. The mind possesses the numinous conscious that is related to the soul of the being. Otto uses this term to describe how the divine is completely different from anything in the ordinary world. It is mysterious, beyond logic or understanding, but still something that the soul can recognize. This otherness does not cause misery. It inspires awe and spiritual recognition. It is something our mind cannot fully grasp, but our soul can feel. Element of fascination. The most noteworthy phenomenon because it's something uniquely attractive or fascinating and finds where awfulness can turn to wonder. Anything miraculous that breaks the ordinary or the natural. Salvation can be achieved through believing the ideas of the Almighty and inconceivable. This element turns fear and awe into wonder and attraction. The divine is not only terrifying, but also deeply beautiful and miraculous, drawing people in. Otto says this is a key part of religious experience. When the person feels captivated by the holiness, even though it's beyond reason, it leads people to faith, belief in miracles, and salvation through the mystery of the divine. To contemporary issues. Spirituality in a secular age. In a world where traditional religious institutions are declining, many people are still seeking meaning and connection. Otto's concept of the numinous helps us understand this ongoing quest for transcendence, even outside traditional religious contexts. Interreligious dialogue. By focusing on the shared experience of the holy, Otto provides a basis for dialogue between different religious traditions. Even if their beliefs and practices differ, they may share a common ground in their encounter with the numinous. Current relevance to philosophical pursuit. It focuses on the philosophical value of Otto's work. It challenges us to move beyond purely rational or intellectual approaches to religion and to consider the importance of feelings, intuitions, and direct experience. It encourages scholars to adopt a more interdisciplinary approach, drawing on psychology, sociology, and other fields to understand the complex phenomenon of religion.